Bdk Parfums is one of the fastest growing niche brands in the industry. Of course, you're probably familiar with fragrances like Gris Chanel. Most recently, they released an extrait version of it. And there's also Rouge Smoking, which happens to be one of my favorites. Well, in today's video, we're going to be focusing our attention on the 5 best Bdk Parfum fragrances for the summer. So make sure to stay tuned. Today's video and I tell you about these 5 Bdk Parfum fragrances for the summertime, and I tell you why I enjoy them so much and what notes are contained therein and the performance and all that good stuff. I do want to start things off by mentioning that if you are a fan of fragrance related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload these daily fragrance related videos. And also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you took something of value from today's episode. Now, the founder of the brand, David Benedek, so BDK actually takes 3 letters from his last name, Benedek. He is the creative director, the founder of the company, the CEO, all these great things, and he has worked with major perfumers like Ralph Schweiger and Anne-Sophie Behegel, and these are wonderfully composed fragrances. And here we have some florals, we have some citrus, we have some salt. There's a really nice arrangement of different notes. And so with that being said, let's just go ahead and dive into the list. And I do want to mention that if you're interested in sampling any of these fragrances, you may do so at scentsplit.com. Amazing service, really good prices, fantastic customer service, and the shipping is also really fast. So I'm going to leave links down below if you're interested in getting a sample or a decant. This way you don't have to pay the price for a full bottle or something like that. I always recommend sampling first. Now, the first fragrance that I want to talk about is going to be on the floral side of things. This one is Tuberose Imperial. Now, this obviously has the namesake of the perfume. There's a lot of tuberose. There's this willow herb ingredient in the opening. And you do have Madagascan vanilla in the base, but you have this smooth, creamy cashmeron. And so I like that this fragrance does give the tuberose a chance to shine. And it's one of these really nice, clean floral ingredients. And so if you're looking for something a little bit more on the floral side of things, I think Tuberose Imperial is a great fragrance for the summer months, and it's one that has worked really well on my skin, and I personally really enjoy the natural smelling qualities of the tuberose. It's not synthetic in any way, it's not rough around the edges, it's very well put together. Tuberose Imperial is an awesome fragrance if you're looking for a floral based fragrance, especially something that can be worn in the hotter months. Now, the next fragrance that I want to talk about is called Pas Ce Soir. And this is a really interesting fragrance in the sense that it does open up with this very bright citrus in the opening. It does eventually dry down to something with a bit of an earthier texture, but overall with this fragrance you are going to get this delightful combination of citrus, some woods in the base, some warmer touches in the dry down, and I like that it kind of maintains a balance between the brighter ingredients and the darker ingredients. There's actually a bit of citrus in here, like I mentioned, and so that effervescence in the opening really allows the fragrance to pop on skin, really gives it a chance to shine. As it starts to dry down, you might get some sweeter elements, you might get the woods in the base, you might get some of the more resolute ingredients, and that makes this fragrance a really good contender if you're looking for something that can be worn in the hotter months, but also gives you really good longevity. And I know a lot of times people are willing to compromise that so that they can have a fragrance that, you know, smells really good, but doesn't last a long time. I don't want to compromise that. I want a fragrance with really good longevity. Pas Ce Soir is an awesome fragrance for that. Again, all of the information on these fragrances is going to be left down below. So definitely take the opportunity to check it out. And this is one that I think you'll really enjoy. The next fragrance that I want to talk about is called Bouquet de Hungry. And this fragrance is, wow, really nice, natural smelling rose. You have a little bit of strawberry. You have a little bit of pear. So you have a lot of really interesting ingredients happening in here. It's crisp, it's juicy, it's fresh, it's citrusy, perhaps not as citrusy as some of the other fragrances in this list. But again, if you're looking for a more muted take on florals, because the rose in here, while it is kind of the star player of the show, it also gives the pear and the strawberry and all of these other ingredients a chance to shine. I think there might also be a little bit of cassis in here if I'm not mistaken. So this is really, really well done. A little bit feminine leaning, I will admit that. So, or traditionally feminine leaning. And so if you kind of have an aversion to floral fragrances, you may wish to skip over these two, but I do think it's a great fragrance. All things considered, a very magnetic smell and one that can be pulled off very comfortably in the summertime. Now, of course, the next fragrance I want to talk about, of course, you knew I was going to dive into this collection. This one is Cel de Jean. Now, this fragrance has the sel, or the salt, in it. You also have that bright, citrusy, crisp, and tart grapefruit in the opening. And then it dries down to a base of cashmeron, ambroxan, and isoe super. Actually, I'm not too sure about the cashmeron, but definitely the ambroxan and the isoe super. So if you're familiar with the effect that those two molecules have in modern perfumery, very bright, fresh, oceanic, aquatic, you're going to get something that is really magnetic with this one. Very, very well done. And this is one that I personally love to wear exclusively in the summertime. So as you can see, I actually wore a little bit of it last year, which is when I wore the most of it, and I've also been saving this for this year. So this year I plan on wearing it a lot as well. Cel de Jean. And the fragrance that I'm going to be putting in the #1 spot is definitely my favorite from the bunch, and this one is called Citrus Riviere. Now, this is a really bright, beautiful smelling citrus and aromatic fragrance. It has the Italian lemon, and it has the neroli. I think there's also a little bit of like this African orange flower ingredient. It has this herbal and aromatic heart. Also a touch of strawberry in here, which is really interesting. But then you have those resolute woodsy and green ingredients in the dry down. I love that the freshness and the brightness of the citrus is not compromised in any way. Very bright, very energetic, very effervescent. Definitely a statement maker in the opening, but I like how lively and how organic the citrus smells. So if you're familiar with the way that a lemon smells, you're going to get something very organic in this fragrance. You're going to get something very similar, very true to form. And the same thing can be said about the other ingredients that are represented in the various other fragrances. I think there's also a touch of fig in this one as well, which adds that unique, slight, sweet, fruity aroma to the citrus. The tuberose in this one is very natural smelling. The rose in this one is natural smelling. The citrus in both of these are very energetic. I almost said enigmatic, but there's nothing mysterious about these two fragrances. In any case, you have 5 beautiful fragrances from the house Bdk Parfums. I know they have another one coming out called Via Neroli. I'm not sure if it's already out, but I definitely look forward to trying it. I'm not the biggest fan of neroli, so I don't know if I would have found a way to include it into this list, but knowing Bdk Parfums, I know they put out amazing fragrances, high quality, and I actually really look forward to trying that as well, and I'm sure I'm gonna end up loving it. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it. Not review, but top list. You know what I meant to say. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I do upload future videos to the channel. And of course, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you took something of value from today's episode. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.